Hello everybody, Hoovy and Queen here. Alright, now let's get things started. This video I will be reviewing the first episode of the First Doctor's second season, Planet of Giants. So, without further ado, here we go! Okay. Following a malfunction on TARDIS console and the bleeding of a klaxon indicating something is amiss, the Doctor insists the fault locator shows nothing is wrong and is safe to venture outside. He leads his companions Ian, Barbara, and Susan to the world beyond, and within minutes they find a dead giant earthworm following a large deceased ant. These seem to have died immediately. After some deduction, the travelers realize they have arrived on Earth but have shrunk in size to about an inch. Ian is investigating a discarded matchbox when someone picks it up and he's hurled around inside. That someone is a government scientist called Pharaoh. He is met by a Calton industrialist named Forrester to tell him that his application for DN6, a new insecticide, has been rejected. In reality, DN6 should not be licensed. It is far too deadly to all insect life. When they fall out over this news, Forrester shoots Pharaoh and leaves him for dead on the lawn. The Doctor, Barbara, and Susan hear the gunshot as an enormous explosion and head for the house. They find Ian unhurt near the dead body and surmise a murder has taken place but can do little about it. They are determined, however, to ensure the murderer is brought to justice despite their microscopic size. While avoiding a cat, the travelers get split up again with Ian and Barbara hiding in a briefcase. The giant Forrester returns to the lawn and collects the briefcase, taking it inside to the laboratory. His aide, Smithers, arrives and suspects him of murder, but does not report him for fear of undermining the DN6 project to which he has given his life. The Doctor and Susan scale a drain pipe to gain access to the house and locate their friends, braving the height as they go. Meanwhile, Ian and Barbara examine the laboratory and encounter a giant fly, which is killed instantly when it contacts sample seeds that have been sprayed with DN6. Barbara foolishly touched one seed earlier and soon starts to feel unwell. Nevertheless, attracted by Susan's voice in the reverberating plug hole, the four friends are reunited. Forrester has meanwhile doctored Pharaoh's report so as to give DN6 the license he wants, and, disguising his voice as Pharaoh's, makes a supportive phone call to the ministry to the same effect. This is overheard by the local telephone operator Hilda Rouse and her policeman husband Bert, who start to suspect something is wrong. The doctors meanwhile realize the deadly and everlasting nature of DN6 and the probable contamination of Barbara. They try to alert someone by hosting up the phone receiver with corks, but cannot make themselves heard. Hilda notes the engaged signal, however, and she and Bird become even more concerned. Forrester and Smithers return to the lab and correct the engaged handset, and then Hilda rings to check things are okay. She rings again moments later and asks for Pharaoh, and when Forrester impersonates him, immediately spots the faked voice, so knows there is something badly wrong. Bird heads off to the house to investigate. The Doctor and his companions decide to start a fire to attract attention to the house and succeed in setting up an aerosol can of insecticide and a lab bench gas jet as a bomb. This coincides with Smithers discovering the true virulence of DN6. It's lethal to everything, and demanding Forrester stop seeking a license. Forrester spots the makeshift bomb, which goes off in his face. Smithers retrieves the gun as P.C. Rouse arrives, and then places both under arrest. Their work done, the travelers return to the TARDIS, and the Doctor reconfigures the machine to return them to normal size. Barbara, who was on the verge of death, recovers and being returned to full size. The insecticide and seed responsible aboard the TARDIS, shrinking to the real microscopic and minuscule sizes. An early draft of this story by C.E. Weber entitled The Giants was originally meant to be the first story of the first season. This story was originally 4 episodes in length. Upon viewing episodes 3 and 4, which focused more heavily on Hilda and Bird, head of serials Donald Wilson ordered them spliced together in order to form a faster-paced climax, focusing on the core characters of the series. Episode 4 was called The Urge to Live and directed by Douglas Camfield. When episodes 3 and 4 were edited together to make the new episode 3, only Camfield was credited. The decision to splice the last 2 episodes into one would have ramifications for the second production block of the series, when the producers were left with a 1 episode space following Galaxy 4. Rather than producing a single episode standalone story or extend any of the planned serials, Mission to the Unknown was commissioned to serve as a prelude to the Daleks' master plan without the participation of any of the regular cast. This was produced in the same block as Galaxy 4, and both were held over to form the first 5 episodes of Season 3. In 2008, Radio Times reviewer Patrick Mulkern wrote that the story had ambition and impressive set design, but felt that the drama itself is less than enthralling. He picked the scientists to stereotypes and found it disappointing that they did not directly interact with the miniature TARDIS crew about their plans. Mulkern also noted that Barbara came across as uncharacteristically wet, and that Jelly Simpson's score was annoyingly childish. DVD Talks John Sinnott gave Planet of Giants 3 out of 5 stars, feeling that it was an average, solid installment. Sinnott noted that it was a strange story because the TARDIS crew do not directly interact with the pretty stupid criminals, and they seem more concerned about exploring than returning to their normal size. David Golder of SFX gave the serial 2.5 out of 5 stars, feeling that it was undeniably slow, talky, and lacking in excitement, and not quite in sync with the main show because Barbara and Ian never know that they are contemporary Britain to which they were trying to return. Despite praising the TARDIS crew for using intelligence, ingenuity, and simple science to get themselves out of problems, he felt they lacked their usual chemistry and also criticized Barbara's characterization. The AV Club reviewer Christopher Bann described the serial as not lacking in ambitious ideas, but never quite gelling together, and last minute re-edited that condensed the original 3rd and 4th episodes into one hurt the story more than it helped. Bann felt the script is constantly undercutting its own dramatic potential in subtle but persuasive ways, such as when the characters try calling the police on a telephone and the plot decker Barbara keeping her illness a secret. However, he praised set design and acting of Hill and Tilburn. Well, that's what I have to say about that. And yeah, from reading the plot and everything and describing it, it's one that I might skip over watching sometime. So, that's it. I have to say Planet of Giants, and I definitely give this one 3 sonic screwdrivers out of 5. Join me next time as we see the Doctor's second encounter with the Daleks, and also the final story for one of the original companions, Susan Foreman. Until next time, this is Hooving Queen saying, "Oh my Gideon! When I say run, run!" I have a reverse polarity of the neutron flow. Would you like a jelly baby? Fantastic! Allons-y! Geronimo! Bow ties are cool, fezzes are cool, and Stetsons are cool.